everyone, welcome back to Homestead Corner. Today I wanted to talk about 15 foods that you have to repackage before you put them into long-term food storage. I get a lot of questions about food storage and what can be stored long-term, what's short-term, why do I have to seal it up? Why are you doing that? There are all kinds of questions. So today I thought I would talk about just 15 foods that you have to repackage before you put it into your long-term food storage, because the packaging at the grocery store is not meant for long-term. It is meant for you buy it, you eat it, and come back and buy some more. So that's the way that they set up their packaging. It's not meant for you to store long-term at all. Most of your foods are very short-term, the way they're packaged. Oats, you're going to get bugs in them if you just toss them in there and leave them in the cabinet the way they are. Things like that. I have heard of pasta getting bugs in it. Lots of different things. So you want to make sure that you're getting these foods repackaged. Now, you do not have to go home from the grocery store and do it today. You have a little bit of time. These foods are going to last on the shelf for a little while, but I wouldn't leave them too long. Our rule of thumb is if they need to be frozen, we try to get them through the freeze cycle right away. And we get them into the freezer for 24 to 48 hours, depending on the size of the package. You want to make sure that it freezes all the way through. Even if you went 4 or 5 days in the freezer, you're sure and you don't have to worry about it. And then we pull those out of the freezer and we let them sit at room temperature. We don't heat them up quickly because that causes condensation. You want to let them come to room temperature on their own. And again, if it's larger bags, you want to make sure that it's thawed out all the way through. You don't want any moisture in the middle or have it still frozen. So we usually allow our stuff to sit for a week. Sometimes I don't get to it for 2 or 3 weeks. It's okay. It's gone through the freeze cycle and the food is going to be perfectly safe. I try not to let it go too long, but 2 to 3 weeks, if you put it, in a chair, in the corner, and you forget about it for a couple of weeks, it's okay. The food's still going to be fine. But these 15 foods must be repackaged or they will not last long term. So the first one that I have is oatmeal. Oats, they're not going to last. They're not packaged to. Too much air is getting through the container to them. There's way too much possibility and probability of having larvae or something like that hatch, having those food bugs and critters in there. And also you have got a high chance of rodents getting into your house and into your cabinets. Even if you don't have a problem right now, if you let your food sit and they can smell it, they will find a way in your house, even if it's new, and they will get to your food eventually. So making sure that you get those things sealed up and properly stored is super duper important. The second one is breakfast cereals. Now, I don't store anything with marshmallows or any of that sugary stuff, but I do vacuum seal my cereal, things that are not high in sugar, your Rice Krispies and, things like that, things that aren't coated in sugar, just good, wholesome cereals, your plain Cheerios, things like that. They will last for years vacuum sealed. They're not going to go stale once you get them all vacuum sealed up. The third thing is crackers. Crackers are another thing. Leaving those out, they're just going to go stale. That packaging is not going to last for it. But I have vacuum sealed up my crackers. We've oven canned crackers. We've tried a bunch of different methods. They all seem to work as long as they are sealed properly. Those crackers, I've eaten saltines and Ritz crackers. 5 years they sat on the shelf and they were still fresh, like I just opened the package. So that is another good one. So you can get some of those in there for a longer period of time. They're going to last. You do want to make sure when you are looking at these foods, things that you want to put away for longer periods, if they are high in fats, they are going to go, those fats will go rancid. So you want to make sure that your foods have no fats in them or very little fats in them. Crackers are one of those things. Some of them are very oily, especially your multi-grain ones and things like that. They can have a lot of fats in there. So you want to be careful with that. Nuts and things like that. Nuts are great to freeze, but not really at room temperature for long periods of time. The fourth one is beans. A lot of people, I get more questions about why are you vacuum sealing beans? Well, the longer beans sit in that package, you are increasing your chances of getting rodents. You're increasing the chances of some kind of larvae hatching in there or something like that, some kind of bugs, which can not only infest that bag of beans, it can infest everything else in your pantry. You want to, and also your beans, when they have air exposed to them for long periods of time, the older your beans are, the longer it takes to cook them. I have found by vacuum sealing them and making sure that they are airtight and stored properly, they are going to last much longer and still be easier to cook in your pantry. They're going to last 30 years anyway, 25, 30 years, no problem. Beans won't really go bad, dried beans. But what will happen is when you go to cook them, you have that emergency. And instead of them cooking in 3 hours on a campfire, they might take 5 or 6 hours on a campfire to get soft enough so you can eat them. So making sure that they are sealed up, that's why I seal them up. I don't have to, but it's going to help me in the long run, having older beans, and also they're going to stay viable for sprouting for longer when they're vacuum sealed. Don't oven can your beans. It brings the viability for sprouting way down, and you may get 5 out of 50 seeds that actually sprout, and you don't want that. So if you're saving beans for eating, planting, making, quick greens by sprouting them, you want to just vacuum seal your beans. I do send them through the freezer cycle and they still work great and are still very viable and will sprout really well. Number 5, rice. Rice is another one. You're going to get bugs in it. You're going to attract rodents. There can be all kinds of problems. Keeping that sealed up is really important. Quinoa is another one, just like your rice. It's going to last a long time as long as it's plain quinoa. Some of the packaging you get at the store will go long term. They seal them up really, really well. So you want to check your packaging, but in a plastic bag. Don't just throw it in the pantry. Put it in a bucket, a metal trash can. There are all kinds of ways to store your food that are going to work. If that food is sealed inside, it's not so important that the outside container is airtight. It's more of a rodent-proof device. Basically, you're going to keep those rodents away from it. You want to have good, sturdy containers that they're in. Number 7, cornmeal. Comes in a bag. It's not going to last like that. It's probably, most of them only have about 6 months on the date. And definitely you will see some bugs hatching in there if you leave it too long in the pantry. Flour is another one. Not super long term, but your all-purpose flour, sealed up, stored properly, is going to go 6 to 10 years, definitely. A lot of times when you buy flour in a can, it will tell you it's going to last for 10 years, and it will. It's still good. But it's got to be stored properly is the catch. And I have vacuum sealed in mason jars and in bags. Long as it is stored properly, that stuff, I've eaten it 6 years since I packaged it. So I never any problems, and it just got to give it a good sifting and it works really well. Number 9, pasta. I don't really store a lot of pasta. I don't store any pasta long term because it is so simple to make from flour. I do buy pasta at the store and we keep it in the pantry, but in the event that I can't get pasta at the store, if it's not available, it's not affordable, I can easily make it with, water and egg or just water. You can make it that way. There's all kinds of recipes. I've done a pasta recipe before on my channel, and Pasta is really easy to make. It really is. And I use a machine. I have a pasta machine, but you don't have to. You can just roll it out with a rolling pin and cut it with a pizza cutter. It works. So pasta is really easy to make, but does definitely, it's not going to last in that cardboard box or the plastic bag that it comes in. Number 10, sugar. Your brown sugar, your powdered sugar, white sugar, all of those things, none of those are packaged for long term. They're not going to last in your pantry. You'll notice your brown sugar gets rock hard because air does get in. They are not airtight containers. And your regular sugar comes in a paper bag, so you don't want moisture getting in there. So making sure that you store those properly is important and get those sealed up. Number 11, tea bags. Tea bags have a super long shelf life if they're airtight. So repackaging those cardboard boxes, again, no good. Number 12, your dry and instant milks. Sometimes you buy them already prepackaged in a can, and those are fine. If you've got powdered milk in a can, they're great, ready for storage. But if they're coming in those flimsy little bags, like the Walmart stuff, or I have bought stuff in, looks like a hot cocoa packet, that kind of material, I would repackage those, even if it's just getting them into jars or vacuum bags or Mylar bags. You can leave them in the packaging they're in, but you want to package them in something that's going to hold the air out, because those just are not. And number 13, herbs and spices. They're going to last, the whole herbs and whole spices are going to last the longest in your pantry. But any of them are going to last a long time once you get them sealed up. I don't necessarily take them out of the packaging. I will just vacuum seal them in a jar, in a bag, whatever, and then get them into a bucket so they're safe away from critters. Your Mylar bags, your vacuum seal bags are not critter proof. They will keep the air out, but they will not keep the critters out if they get into your pantry. And those little buggers will find a way. They're little evil buggers. Number 14, lard and shortening. It will last so much longer if you repackage it and put it into mason jars, get it airtight, keep it sealed up. It's going to last a lot longer than it will last in the packaging that it comes in from the store, because that is not good packaging. And number 15 is popcorn. Really old popcorn may not pop, but it is still good to grind into corn flour. I wouldn't throw it away if it won't pop. It's still useful. You can use that for that. You can make heat packs with it. You can do all kinds of stuff. There's tons of uses for old popcorn that won't pop. But we buy just popcorn, not the microwave stuff, because that's got fats and oils and all kinds of stuff in it, but just the plain bags of popcorn, and you can repackage those and store them away, and they're gonna stay good way longer, for years. And as far as your bread mixes, your cake mixes, like hamburger helper, rice-a-roni, those type of things, you want to be careful trying to repackage some of those items because of the fats and oils in them. You read your ingredients. It's going to help you decide what's going to last longer. So you don't want to take something that's high in fat and vacuum seal it and put it away and say, I'll have that in 10 years. And that is probably not going to be good in 10 years if it's high in fats. So those mixes and things like that. Your cake mixes and bread mixes, muffin mixes, a lot of times those are still going to be good. They may not have fats in them, but your leavening agent probably won't be good anymore. And you can just add more leavening agent to that, as long as the mix is still good. And so you just want to remember the very best conditions for your food storage is cool, dark, dry, and airtight. You want everything to be in airtight containers. You want it to be cool, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, 45. I'd say 45 to 60 degrees really is your optimal best temperatures if you can keep the room cool. Wherever you are storing food, a cooler area is going to be the best area. And if it is really humid, use those moisture absorbers in there. They really help out a lot. One area that I have some food storage in is really moist. And so those really help out. And we keep a hydrometer in there just to keep track of it and make sure that the moisture isn't too high. I don't want my lids to rust or anything, cans to rust, anything like that. So you just want to keep an eye on that moisture. And even the Dollar Tree moisture absorbers, I swear by those things. They work so good. I've never had anything rust, even in a pretty damp area. It really sucks tons of moisture out, which I like. And that is it for today. I'm sure there are tons of other foods. These are just 15 that I went over today. But you want to make sure anytime that you are looking to store foods long term, you're checking on those fats and oils and things like that in the ingredients. Those are not going to last as long, and they're going to cause the rest of the package of food to go bad. So stuff without is going to do really good dry, nice dry goods. They are always wonderful to vacuum seal up or put in your Mylar bags or in jars, whatever the method is for you. Do what works for you, definitely. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.